I looked at the numbers. It's 5% of the people they deported are violent criminals.
Yes.
There's probably more pedophiles in the Oval Office.
All right. Andy, I want to start this out with a chant. With a
A chant?
yeah,
Okay.
we need to not get banned. We need our
Okay.
platform to grow.
So, okay, let me hear your chant, and then we're going to talk about it.
On three, we're gonna say "Hail King Trump" 3 times.
Okay.
Let's try this out. 1, 2, 3.
Hail King Trump.
Trump.
Hail King Trump.
Hail King Trump.
I don't know about you, but I think President Trump's the best president ever. If anybody's listening at Google or the FBI, so just going to throw that out there. I'm sure you saw. We got to get this out of the way real quick. I'm sure you saw that there were files released today by the Department of Justice. From everything I'm seeing online, people on YouTube, TikTok, pretty much everywhere, there's certain keywords that are causing people to get shadow banned. There is a guy who lived in South Florida who had some nefarious interactions with young women, and there's a whole bunch of files that we've all been waiting on. We're not going to say his name. We all know what files we're talking about. If you need to say his name, just say J.E. Everybody knows what we're talking about.
We call him G.
G? No, because that'll be confusing.
G.
Just call him E.
E. Oh.
Yeah, call him E. So anyhow, so the file, first of all, we talked yesterday and we were like, oh, let's record tomorrow. And in my mind, I was like, I don't really know if I have enough to really do a full show. And in the 24 hours since then, all kinds of stuff has happened. So now I have too much. And there's certain stuff we're just not going to cover tonight that we should cover, but I'm having to skip it. So let's talk about the files real quick. First of all, 3 million files were released today.
And there's 3 million more, right?
I don't know how many there are total. The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who was, I always have to point this out, was Trump's defense lawyer before he became the Deputy Attorney General. He came out and gave a big press conference this morning where he basically was saying this is going to be a nothing burger. He's like, if you guys are looking for names of guys that you think you're going to get in trouble, like, you're going to be disappointed. I don't think he read all 3 million pages because, like, there was a lot in there. There was, okay, we're going to go through this one at a time. First of all, I gotta say, I saw a couple different people making this joke today, but I think that Trump, you know how he uses like one thing to distract from another?
Yeah.
I think he's using he's using the files to distract from the fact that the Melania movie is releasing tonight, and apparently it's going to be a huge dud. And we'll wait and see what the numbers are. But like I've been seeing all day that all these big theaters that are doing premieres of it haven't sold a single ticket or have sold like 2 tickets. So the reviews also, I think it was Variety magazine said that if they showed this movie on a plane, people would still get up and walk out. So people are saying that he's using these files to distract from his wife's movie not doing well.
Apparently some of the crew from the movie, some of the crew are like talking. I just saw a headline, so I don't know exactly what they're saying.
Some of the crew requested that their names not be put in the credits because they don't want to be associated with this movie. Understandable.
But they're releasing like how what a nightmare she was to work with, and like
the director is a guy named Brett Ratner, that he was like one of the first Me Too victims. Like apparently he was one of the he wasn't quite Weinstein, but he was kind of in that realm. And he
was in the E-Files.
I believe he was. Yes, he was. Yeah. And there's a lot of people in those files, it turns out.
Kevin Warsh, our new Fed chairman, was in the E-Files.
We're gonna get to that. Hold on. There's a whole story about that guy. But Trump's using the files to distract from the Melania movie. But then it looks like he's going to use an attack on Iran to distract from the files. We're not even going to really get to that tonight. But also, like, it looks like tonight. People in the Middle East, like government officials in the Middle East, are telling us, like our reporters, that they were warned today that an attack on Iran is imminent. So, meeting sometime this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. Every time that we think he's about to do it, it's like 2 weeks later that he actually does. But everybody be on guard. The Iran stuff could pop off this weekend.
What's going to be our reasoning for attacking Iran?
Because they refused to make a deal with Israel to give up all of their protection. At first, it was about nuclear, and then it was about long-range missiles, and I think now it's about intermediate-range missiles. We don't want them to have any way to protect themselves, pretty much. So,
Hmm.
yeah, we want regime change. And what's funny, real quick, this is going way back. We had our guy in Iran. We put our guy, the Shah, in Iran, and he was there for about 10 years, and the people hated him, and they overthrew him. And now we've got the current, Muslim, what do they call it? It's very religious administration. I can't think of the word for it. But they've had this, and now we're going to try to overthrow. We want to overthrow this regime and stick in the Shah, who they kicked out. We want to stick in his son, who's here in America right now. The people
Hmm.
there don't want him. Anyhow, they're very unhappy with their current leadership. They also don't want us to stick our American puppet guy in there. So
Yeah.
anyhow, we're going to talk about Iran whenever that we actually do strike. We're not going to waste a lot of time on that tonight. Um, Marge did have a really good tweet about this, though, and I want to shout out to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is still delivering bangers every step of the way.
Well based on files released and then deleted. I'd say the odds went up on bombing Iran. It is Friday after all.
So, in what she's referring to there is there was one file in particular that had 26 different claims that Trump had diddled kids. Now, I read through them, and I'll say this: a lot of them, there were parts of them that seemed very like there were parts that gave it away. There was like supposedly Trump stopped hanging out with E around 2005, and I haven't seen anything to prove that they did hang out after that. Okay, um, Elon Musk was not in that scene at all, and like one of them was very graphic and saying stuff. And when I was reading it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is bad for Trump." But then it said like at the party was also Elon Musk, and it named a couple other people. And it's like, okay, Elon wasn't in that circle back then, so right there, that seems not true. But I would say of all the ones about Trump that I saw today, and I would love nothing more than for there to be a smoking gun on Trump in these files. I didn't see anything that seemed believable as far as accusing Trump in there. There was one. I will say there was one we're going to talk about in a minute, but of most of them, not really. Um, what are you reading over there?
Um, Elon Musk corresponded with JE in 2012 and 2013, according to newly released files, and sought to visit his island.
So I've got something on that coming up in a second, but that was 7 years after supposedly Trump broke off their friendship. So
Yeah, but hold on. Like, apparently he broke off his friendship, but that doesn't mean he really, like, do you believe anything Trump says?
if I saw any evidence that they were hanging out after 2005, I'd love to see it. Like I would love nothing more than to be able to say that, oh, he's lying. They were hanging out and doing all kinds of bad stuff. I've yet to see any evidence of it.
But
So
wasn't there correspondence between them in Trump's first term?
so there was correspondence, and we saw more of this today, where it was J.E. advising Steve Bannon on how to advise Trump. So they were using Bannon as an intermediary.
Okay.
We don't know for sure that Trump knew that this advice was originating with J.E.
And
Um,
then JE got arrested under Trump, under
yes,
the Trump administration.
yeah, in 2019.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyhow, of all the stuff that was released today, first of all, 37 members of Trump's circle are in the files. So that's a lot. Like I think it was 10 different people in his administration are in the files.
Yeah.
Howard Lutnick, real quick. Howard Lutnick, we played a clip from him a couple months ago where he was saying that he went into JE's house one time and there was a massage table and this and that, and he said that he left and he told his wife that he'd never be around that man again, and he never did. And he made it a point to say that he was done after that. And he was corresponding with JE in 2012, 2013, 2014. They were setting up dinners, arranging to come to his island, all kinds of stuff. So Lutnick is a liar. Um, the one person who does look really bad in this is on the left. Bill Gates. Embarrassing email for Bill Gates. He
Is he on the
apparently
left though?
he's donated to the left a lot.
Yeah, but it
He's
seems like he's kind of blowing in the wind. He's been
oh
shenanigans around with Trump.
ever since he got kind of brought up in all this JE stuff and the files, he has definitely been kind of outcast from the left. But there's an email where apparently this is the story that it looks like he got an STD from a Russian girl, gave it to his wife, Melinda Gates, I think is her
Uh-huh.
name, and then was asking JE if he had any antibiotics that could get for his wife that he could secretly give her without her knowing, so she would never realize that she got this STD from him, which he had gotten from a Russian girl. So Bill Gates might be the biggest loser in all these releases today. The rest of it, all the rest of it is just really, it looks really bad. With Bill Gates, it seems 100% like, oh, like he was cheating on his wife with a Russian girl that JE set him up with. We don't know what her age was, but I mean,
Yeah.
doesn't look good. So
Oof.
that Elon. So we knew from the last release that there was a day on JE's calendar that said Elon to the island question mark, and Elon had said, oh yeah, he invited me to the island, but I didn't go. So that was kind of all we knew about that. Now we have the emails where they're going back and forth, and Elon started the email by saying, all right, this wasn't the start, this is the start of what we saw, but he says it's probably going to be just Tallulah and me. What day/night will be the wildest party on your island? And then they go back and forth, the first through the eighth, and he's saying he could fly out on the third, blah blah blah. But they're trying to figure it out to where when can he come to the island? And his Elon's specific question is, what day or night will be the wildest party on your island? So doesn't look great for Elon. Elon came up a couple different times in these. Also, there was an email where JE thanked Elon for the tour of his facility. And we don't know if that was SpaceX or Tesla. Somebody from SpaceX came out today and said they have no record of JE touring the facility, but they didn't say anything about Tesla. It could very well have been Tesla. That was in like 2014 or 2015, I think. So Elon has been tweeting all day. Ever since he's came out, he's been tweeting and trying to point to the left. Look what the left is doing. Boys and girls sports, trans this. Like he's trying to point the finger everywhere else he can. He's basically tweeting his way through it. He's trying to change the subject. So good on him. I'm trying to think here. There was a whole lot of stuff. So real quick on that Marge tweet, there was that deal. One page had 26 different claims where people had come to the FBI and given their story of what Trump had done with JE to them. They deleted that. They deleted that page as soon as people started noticing about that. So that seems like an admission of guilt. The FBI put out all the files, and then that one got a lot of attention, and they deleted the link to that page. But everybody had already downloaded it, so it's out there. But that is no longer on the DOJ website.
Okay.
So they're acting like this is it. Like this is the end of the release. They've complied. Done.
I think there's 3 million more files.
They're acting like the way that I watched all of Todd Blanche this morning, and they're acting like this is the end. Like we have now complied. Here you go. And just recently, Ghislaine Maxwell said that there was a plea deal where it was like 20 other men basically made plea deals to avoid prosecution way back in like 2008 or 2009. None of that's in these files. Like, where's that? That's what I'd like to see. Who are the men that made plea deals to avoid prosecution? What were the deals?
Interesting.
Yeah. So
yeah, I would like to know that.
It's weird to release it on the day that Melania's movie's coming out. Oh, hey, by the way, the Super Bowl's coming up in 1 week. Did you see who was sitting beside Trump? They had their big premiere of the Melania movie at the Trump Kennedy Center, and it was a VIP guest list. They did a red carpet thing. Did you see who was sitting beside Trump?
No.
I want to see if you can recognize who this is.
Oh no. Didn't I point this out a while back?
Yeah, that is, so if anybody doesn't know, that is the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, sitting right beside Trump. Robert Kraft, you might remember, got in some trouble for getting some happy ending massages. What was that,
In
like
Juniper,
2019?
Florida, where Trump has his, and where Epstein lived. Yes.
So go Hawks. Everybody go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
The owner of the Patriots is a diddler, is all I'm going to say. I don't know that for sure. It's just I'd like to say that, yeah, allegedly. So anyhow.
I mean, he's in the inner circle of diddlers.
Well, so you just said that there's 3 million more files. Are you seeing that that's supposed to be released somewhere, or were you seeing that?
Withheld files, nearly 2.5 to 3 million pages are being withheld or heavily redacted by the DOJ for following reasons. Da 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 da.
So they're not ever going to they're saying that those are being withheld we're not going to get those. Today was what they're giving us.
Roughly 200,000 pages are withheld under attorney-client or deliberative process privileges.
Which right there, deliberative process. The bill that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey put out there specifically said they wanted all of the internal deliberation communications. It specifically said that, and then today
Hmm.
Blanche said that they're withholding those specifically. So that's in violation of the bill. I don't think that they're ever going to be able to do anything about it, but that directly contradicts what was in the bill. So
I mean, so they're releasing the names, and I try to touch on this. Can we move on to our new Fed chairman?
yeah, so okay. Kevin Warsh. I don't know how to say his name. Warsh, something like
Warsh.
that.
I think it's Warsh, yeah.
Warsh. So his name is in the files. He got named this morning by Trump to be the new chairman of the Fed when Jerome Powell's tenure is up in May, I believe. And he got named by Trump. And then an hour later, the files come out, and we all see that he's also in the files. Guess who else is in the files? His father-in-law. Who is his father-in-law, you might ask? His father-in-law is named Ron Lauder. Does that name sound familiar to you at all?
A little bit.
Okay, so he's a billionaire Republican donor. He actually, remember when Trump about a year ago was trying, or I guess it was probably only 6 months ago, was trying to strike a mineral deal with Ukraine of like, oh well, if we can have your rare earth minerals, that is your security guarantee. Well, Ron Lauder struck a deal with Ukraine to be able to mine lithium in Ukraine, so he was kind of the billionaire that had we struck that deal, he was going to get rich off of it. Which he
Okay.
gave a lot of money to Trump, so that's a little you rub my back, I'll rub yours type thing.
Yeah.
But how else do we know Ron Lauder? Ron Lauder has been heavily investing in Greenland for the last couple of years and is the billionaire that planted the seed in Trump's head that we should buy Greenland. So all this Greenland stuff traces back to Ron Lauder. He's been in Trump's ear about that. His son-in-law is now the chair of the Fed. They're both in the e-files.
So so they redacted all these other names, but they actually left in a lot of names that kind of
They left in a lot, and none of it was smoking gun. Like the one that was kind of smoking gunish was the one with all the Trump accusations, but then they pulled that link. So
but then they put it back, right?
yeah, they were no, they never put that link back. They pulled that this
Oh.
morning, have not put that one back, but everybody downloaded it, so we have it already.
So we have it.
Yeah, we have that. They did as soon as they put the link up, everybody went through and downloaded everything immediately. So that way, if they did try to pull anything down, we'd have it.
And you said Trump and Trump and Elon Musk were at the same party.
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I've not seen that. Not with not anywhere in the files have we seen that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
It appears from, and I'm open to if new information comes out, but it appears Trump cut off his relationship with JE in 2005, and then Elon didn't pop up in any of these emails or anything till like 2011, 2012. So there's a
okay.
6 year gap between
But
when
there was a file in there that said that they were at the same party.
not that I've seen.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Yeah.
which one did you say that you didn't agree? You didn't. It
Oh,
didn't
sorry.
seem like
Yes,
it was
yes. You're
okay.
so. And what that was is it was basically they posted all the tips they were getting, and there were some dumb. That one said that it's had some disgusting stuff about Trump measuring girls, I guess is what I'm going to say. I don't want to get into it. It'd probably get us banned if I said it. But measuring girls' tightness
Oh,
with his fingers. Yeah. But it said that
girls or women?
girls, underage girls is what it said.
Oh,
But then it also said that at this party, and it listed, you could tell it was someone who was just trying to get everybody around Trump in trouble. And it listed Elon Musk as being someone who was there. And that doesn't jive at all with what we know. It seems like
but that
Elon.
was in the files.
Yes, that was one of the things released, but and like others on that same page said like I was assaulted, I'll say, by Trump, Don Jr., and Eric all together at the same time. And I'm like, I don't see any situation where the dad and his two sons are all joining in to do this to it. That's weird. So a lot of it seemed like people were just trying to flood the zone with crap about Trump. So
Okay.
If there isn't, and the one believable thing that's in any of these files about Trump is a girl named Maria Farmer. Maria Farmer and her sister went to the FBI in the 90s and complained about JE and Trump, and we have that. Like that's in the first batch of files that came out. They got interviewed by the FBI, and it just seems like the FBI never followed up on it. They never went. If they did, we haven't seen anything about it. So that's the one. The one thing that's kind of damning to Trump is the Maria Farmer stuff. And if you type in Maria Farmer to Google, you can read all about that. But
Hmm.
we've known about that one for a couple months now. It's probably the
Okay.
worst thing in the files to come out from that. So anyhow, so files
Wow.
are out. That's about all we're going to get. People are going to keep digging through, but I think we've seen about the most salacious stuff we're going to see on it. And nobody else is going to go down for this. That's the key part. Like there
Well,
are other.
they came out today.
Mhm.
2 million or 3 million files.
So everybody downloaded them and then put them into some kind of program where you could search keywords. So you could search Trump, you could search Elon, whatever, and every time their name is in it, it will come up on it. So that's how people got through it so fast.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but the key thing is, it stands to reason that if Ghislaine was trafficking women, which is or trafficking young girls, which is what she got convicted of, she had to be trafficking them to somebody, right?
Oh yeah.
And we're never going to know who those people are. Like that's what it comes down to. That was the whole point of this, is to figure out who the men were that were involved in this, and we're never going to find that.
Well, I heard something about Melania being involved too. Like Ghislaine and
So there
Melania's
was
messaging.
there were some emails from Melania to Ghislaine and back and forth from like 2002, I think.
Okay.
There was no smoking gun in it, other than the fact that they had a relationship. They were friends. So
Hmm.
and also, it's been rumored. I don't know if we'll ever be able to prove this, but it's been rumored that Melania knew JE before she knew Trump,
Oh yeah.
and possibly dated JE or fooled around with JE before she
Yeah.
started dating Trump. I don't know if we could ever prove that, but that's what people that were hanging out with that group back then claim that, but there's not any evidence. So,
Well, remember there was a giant check that he was holding up on the golf course, and
yeah,
it said like for a woman already used or
a
something.
fully depreciated woman. So,
That's probably Melania.
they know who that was, and I can't remember the name, but they knew who that was, and it was some girl who was like 20 years old and a model that they apparently were handing back and forth. So it
Hmm.
seems that they dated the same girls in a couple different cases. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so
Interesting.
that's all I got on the files. There'll probably be some more revelations come out, but I think we've seen the juiciest. And the question is, I know like Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey and people like that are probably going to keep raising a stink, but I think the rest of Congress is done with this. Like they're not gonna force the DOJ to give more at this point. They've done I think we've truly seen all we're going to see on this. We can keep complaining about it, but we're done.
Yeah, I'd like to see it unredacted, but
It'd be great, but
I
unless
mean,
maybe the next president comes in and orders the DOJ to release more, but as far as for the next 3 years, we're done.
yeah, and the victims are complaining about insufficient redaction of their descriptions.
There were a couple girls that totally got put on. I don't want to say put on blast. That's not the right word, but yeah, they failed to redact properly, and there were some girls whose identity got out today that were victims, and they're very upset about that. So that's the
Hmm.
thing. They were supposed to put everything out within 30 days. That ended up taking them 75 days, and they said that's because they were being so careful to make sure and redact and protect the victims. And then they, of course, missed some, and so anyhow.
Oh my gosh.
So before we move on to anything serious, I have one humorous clip I'd like to play for you. Remember how Trump is doing the UFC this June, I believe? It's going to be on his
Hmm.
birthday at the on the White House lawn. You've seen the White House. You know how big the lawn is in front, right?
Sure.
Let's say they put a cage, an octagon in the middle of the lawn. How many people
Hmm.
do you think they could fit in spectating? Like if they were to bring in some bleachers and stuff, like what do you think the max crowd is?
I'm gonna look at a picture. White
Okay.
House photo from above. Let's see. I mean, because so this is the White House. Oh, man. If they tore down all those trees
Which they're probably willing to do.
and pack it, I mean, it could be a decent size
Let's not
stadium.
forget the whole East Wing is being demolished right now. So that's a construction area.
Yeah. And there's asbestos floating through the air over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your guess? What's a good crowd you think Trump would go for at the UFC event?
Uh, 50,000.
That would be ridiculous in my opinion. But let's hear what Trump says he's going to have at this event.
They are going to put up something that's really amazing. It's really having to do with our great 250th birthday, where we're having so many wonderful things. UFC is coming, as you know, in front of the White House with a building, literally a stadium. We're going to have over 100,000 people. And this is going to have a lot of people. I won't even say how many people, because I think it can set a record for racing. It's going to be very, very important. We're celebrating greatness with America.
This is going to be a record for racing?
So they're also having an IndyCar race there.
Oh,
Yeah. But he
okay.
said they're going to build a stadium that fits 100,000 people for the UFC event.
Is there enough room to have an Indy track there?
It's not going to be on the White House. It's going to be through DC. This is doable just because I've seen in certain cities, which I think Austin is one of them, where they like turned the city into an IndyCar track, not like downtown, but
Right.
so yeah, so they're going to do that. But also like, so me and you were both from Arlington, Texas. The new Cowboy Stadium there is huge. Okay, it took 3 or 4 years to build, and it seats I think 90,000 roughly.
Yeah.
He's going to build a stadium that can seat 100,000 in the next 5 months, according to him.
Yeah,
Which,
that doesn't seem doable.
which real quick, you said 50,000 was your guess. Like, even if you could fit 50,000, you couldn't build a stadium to hold that many people in the next. And also, let's hope that this is going to be torn down afterward. Like, this isn't a permanent structure for UFC events going forward. So I'm very confused of the whole. We're going to have 100,000 people there to watch the UFC.
I don't think the lawn's big enough for that.
I don't think I don't think it is either. But
I mean, where are they going to park?
they're
There's
basically
not
saying
enough parking for sure. There's not going to be enough parking.
they're saying they're going to put a NFL stadium is basically the equivalent and most NFL stadiums hold like 60 to 70,000. Anyhow.
Is he just bullshitting?
Yeah, he's 100. Like, I'm very curious to see now, like, what this UFC event's going to be like, because it's not going to be 100,000 people. It's probably going to, honestly, it's probably not going to be 10,000 people there. But I don't know.
How how long is it going to take to build the ballroom? 'Cause that's like 3 years, right?
Yeah, you would think. I mean, they haven't made much progress on it so far. There's just a big hole in the ground where it's going to go. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to do something that I can't comprehend. But yeah, 100,000 seat stadium on the lawn of the White House seems impossible.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all.
No, not at all. So anyhow, the other funny thing, and this is like depressingly funny. Did you see that Trump is suing the IRS?
No.
Okay. He is I want to play a game with you here. How much money do you think Donald Trump is suing the IRS for?
20 billion.
Oh, so you guessed high. $10 billion. Billion with a B.
He always goes high.
Yeah. He's suing them. So what's hysterical about this is he's suing them because they leaked his tax returns. When did they leak his tax returns, you might ask? From the complaint here, from May 2019 through at least September 2020, former IRS employee Charles Chaz Littlejohn, who was jointly employed by the IRS and one of its contractors, illegally obtained access to and disclosed the plaintiff's tax returns and return information to the New York Post, ProPublica, and other leftist media outlets. From May 2019 to September 2020, Trump was president. He was president. His person was in charge of the IRS. So he's basically suing himself. If this had happened under Biden, then I can at least kind of see where he's coming from. But this leak happened while he was president with an IRS leader that he appointed. And then on top of that, you know who is in charge of the IRS right now?
Trump.
Scott Bessent. Okay, well, Trump, yeah, but Scott Bessent. So Scott Bessent gets to decide if they just give him the 10 billion, if they settle for a lesser amount, or if they try to fight it in court. I got $100 that says they're not going to fight it in court, and they're probably going to settle for like $5 billion so that they can try to say, well, look, they only gave him half of what he wanted.
That's our tax dollars going to
he's
directly to Donald Trump.
he's suing the American public, basically. I mean, that's who's paying this 10 billion or 5 billion, whatever it's going to end up being.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So anyhow, I just think that's effing hysterical. What's
That's the
sad
same
is
time
like,
he's trying to get down the deficit.
oh, he's not trying to get down the deficit. Since Trump took office, we are adding $1 trillion to the debt every 100 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, we're spending like crazy right now. Like the thought that we're trying, like Republicans in the whole, like, worried about the deficit hawk thing, like that's out the window. Trump is spending like a drunken sailor and they're not saying crap about it. So, yeah.
What? No, $1 trillion every 100 days?
$1 trillion every 100 days is that's the pace we're on right now.
Oh
We
my
were
God.
we were not on that pace under Biden. So
No.
this is new. This is all the money that so we're not even budgeted to be spending this much. We're just spending over budget right now, and the Republicans are control the Senate and the House, so they're not going to do anything about it. But right now, between like everything in Venezuela, right now we're sending a whole battle fleet to Iran. Like none of that was called for in the budget. We're just spending that. All the ICE stuff, like it's ridiculous. So anyhow, so
Yeah, I mean he wants to go through Congress to get ICE more money, right? Another third or another half of what they're already spending. But
which
he's just spending it anyway, right?
yeah, we're already spending it. And which I don't even know. There's so much happened today. Like today was possibly shutdown day. I'm going to assume because what they were trying to do is reach a deal to keep almost all of the government open except for DHS. And I'm going to assume they accomplished that. I never saw anything on it today. I have no clue. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. You would think normally if there was a shutdown looming at midnight, we'd be hearing about it, but there was too much other stuff going on today.
Oh
So
yeah, the shutdown happened.
did it happen? I don't even know. Hold on. Now I got to check. This is
Yeah, the government has to be shut down. There's no way they passed anything.
They might have. So they were trying to pass to where they were going to keep everything open except for DHS. And I haven't heard anything about it. Let me see here.
Who's voting on it?
It looks like we are shutting down the government tonight.
Yeah, great.
And it looks like they didn't even pass the other parts to keep the rest of the government open.
I mean, is the House back in session then?
No, the House never came back all week.
Oh, don't they need the House to pass a
Oh,
continuing
wait,
resolution?
hold on. I got from 42 seconds ago. The Senate passed a government spending package, but a partial government shutdown will still occur. So DHS is going to get shut down. The only
Oh,
way
good.
the only part of that that's going to affect day-to-day people is the TSA, the people that screen you at the airport. They are under Department of Homeland Security, so they will still be operating, but without paychecks. When that happens, most of
Yeah.
them tend to call in sick, and then there's long lines at the airports. This is a good time of the year for that to happen because there's no like busy travel holidays coming up in the next month.
Yeah.
So that's all that's really going to affect us. So anyhow, so that's happening.
Okay. Partial
Yep.
shutdown of the U.S. government
Yep.
again.
That's like the seventh most important thing that happened today. Normally that would be top of the list, but no, there's other stuff happening.
I
Uh,
mean, since Trump's been in office, it's just been a circus.
oh yeah, I think this is what he prefers. And this was Steve Bannon's whole playbook. Like in the first term, what he called it was flood the zone. You flood the zone with so much stuff that the media can't focus on just one thing. And if they start to focus in on one thing, do something even crazier over here, and that'll draw their attention away. So that's that. This is a strategy. This isn't like he's so dumb. There's so much going on. No, he's doing this on purpose.
I don't think he's that smart.
I don't think he is. I think Bannon is, and Bannon
Yeah.
gave him this strategy. So yeah. Anyhow, we haven't even talked about Minneapolis yet. Did you see the size of the protests today in Minneapolis, New York, LA?
No.
It was huge. They were big. I mean, thousands of people walking through the streets in Minneapolis specifically.
Good.
LA and New York were big. They had them in other cities. I saw like Tucson, Arizona had a big protest. Like random cities everywhere were protesting ICE. The Minneapolis thing is not going well for the current or for Trump, like at all. Like the polling, if you're a House member that's a Republican and you have to go up in the midterms here in another 10 months, you can't be happy with things right now. Fox even, I should have pulled it, but Fox was telling their viewers today that right now the generic ballot has the largest lead for Democrats that any side has ever had in recorded history of polling. So it looks like Dems are going to totally take the House. The Senate is very much in play. I pulled one clip. I like to pull podcasters that I know that MAGA listens to, just so we can kind of see what they're hearing. Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz, I wouldn't say is on the right, but he became right curious.
Yeah.
He definitely had. I don't want to. Like, I hate being like, oh, Donald or Joe Rogan helped Trump get elected, because like that's a podcaster, but also it did help. Like it really,
Okay.
he didn't win because of Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz, but it
Well,
didn't
it
hurt.
brought people out. Oh, Joe Rogan supports Trump. I'm going to go vote. It brought
Exactly.
people. And Joe Rogan has how many viewers?
A lot. I don't know how many, but a lot. But Andrew Schultz was one of those people. They've completely turned on Trump. I got a clip here real quick I want you to watch of Andrew Schultz. Check this out real quick.
So let's talk about what happened in Minneapolis. ICE murdered an American citizen in cold blood, and then the Trump administration called him a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like plain and simple.
Yeah.
I see the administration trying to spin it, and it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't even have a moment where they're like, hey, we're reviewing the footage. We're going to try to see what's really happening. All of them, Trump and all the cronies, put out collective statements that immediately blamed an American citizen that was exercising his First and Second Amendment rights, right? He has the right to protest. He has the right to carry a firearm. He's a legal gun owner, right? There's no question about this whatsoever. And the administration immediately comes out and they try to gaslight the public, which you cannot do when we have 15 different videos of what happened.
Yes.
And
That is what they do, though.
but that is what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that governments have probably been doing this for centuries, millennia. And now you have a public that is armed with phones and we can see what actually fucking happened. And you're not going to just lie to us, plain and simple, like that. If you see it with your own eyes, you know exactly what happened. And there's something disgusting that's happening, not only in Minneapolis, I'm sure it's happening in other parts of the United States, where it's ICE is under the guise of security, right? Under the guise of safety, because that's what they're doing, right? Is every time something horrific happens, they keep going, but look at the pedophiles we got. Look at the murderers we got. Look at all the violent criminals we got. I looked at the numbers. It's 5% of the people they deported are violent criminals.
Yes.
There's probably more pedophiles in the Oval Office.
No, exactly. No, exactly. If you bring up another fucking pedophile about deporting and you're not releasing the Epstein list, just shut the fuck up, all of you.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anything else about, oh, we got to deport the pedophiles. They're right here.
Yeah.
They're right here. They're a list of them, and you're not exposing it.
Pretty.
Go.
They were going after him there. They're not buying all the domestic terrorist stuff about Renee Good and what's his name, Alex Preddy, calling the people in the Oval Office kid diddlers. Okay, I'm all for it. Yeah. So I thought that was good. Also, speaking of Minnesota, I don't know if you saw her today or not, but Don Lemon and another journalist, I think her name was like Georgia Ford, got arrested last night and early this morning. Did you see anything about that?
I did see that.
Okay.
That is a scary shit. I don't even know exactly what happened, but
So let me set it up for you real quick. Okay, so Don Lemon and this other journalist got tipped off that this group was going to go protest at a church while church was in session. It turned out and I don't even know if this turned out to be true or not, but they got information that the head of the ICE field office in like St. Paul, Minnesota, was also like the main pastor at a church, which is odd. But so they found that out and they went to like interrupt the church service and protest while service was going on.
okay.
I think that's a dumb idea, and I think that when the left does stuff like that, it hurts the left. Like that was perfect ammo for the right, for Fox News and Newsmax to be able to say, "Hey, look how bad the left is being," and get their kind of change the subject back. So,
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that tactic at all. But I'm saying that about the people that went and protested it. Don Lemon got a tip, supposedly got a tip that this was going to happen, and he went to cover it as a journalist. I don't think that Don Lemon should be arrested for that. I think the people that did it are stupid.
Wait, no. I believe it's illegal for them to arrest him for that under the First Amendment.
We're going to find out. It's going to go in front of a judge at some point if they actually go through with the charges, which a lot of times the Trump administration loves to arrest somebody and be like, look, this person tried to kill ICE agents or whatever it is, and then they never actually charge the person or they drop the charges. So it's like, we'll see what happens. But
you can't arrest or kill a journalist for doing their job.
well, they're trying to make the case that he was an active part of the protest, and
Even if he was, like, what, they disrupted a church service? That's not illegal.
So what they're trying to charge him with is called the KKK Act. This is an act from the '60s where the KKK was like firebombing African American churches and different stuff like that. They were trying to use intimidation to keep people out of church. So the way they're applying this is they're saying, well, the left, the domestic terrorists, were trying to intimidate these people from going back to their church for fear that protests will happen again, something like that. So that's the act they're trying to charge Don Lemon under is the KKK Act, which is just kind of hysterical. I definitely don't think they're going to win. Whether or not they take it to trial is, we'll wait and see. But I do have one question for you on this, okay? Because Don Lemon, I think we can both agree Don Lemon's a journalist. He was on CNN, he was on MSNBC, he has a podcast that has a lot of viewers. So, like, I'd call him a journalist. The other lady, her name is Georgia Ford, I think. I don't know anything about her. She could be the nicest lady in the world. I'm not trying to talk crap about her. But, like, there's this thing. So, to take it a step back, on January 6th, there were a lot of people that got arrested storming the Capitol that then tried to say, I'm a journalist. I had a GoPro rig on my chest or on my head or whatever, and I was there filming. I'm just a journalist. And like, where do we draw the line between, like, me and you have a podcast that 6 to 50 people listen to on an average basis? Okay.
Yes.
Are we journalists? I don't think so. Not at
We
all.
kind of are. We kind of are.
Okay. I'll let you say that, but I strongly disagree with you. Me and
We
you
kind of are journalists. I mean, like serious journalists. You're not.
amateur journalists.
Look, I'm a photographer, and
Okay.
I have a press pass,
So
and I go on assignment to cover events and different things as a photojournalist.
I would
So I would consider
happily
myself a journalist.
I would happily say that you are a photojournalist. You are, okay?
You have to make money.
Okay.
That's what separates you. You're
Yeah.
a professional journalist. You make money as a journalist.
Okay. What me and you are doing right here, right now, is not journalism. Okay. And that's where, like, most of the people that went to the White House and tried to pull the whole I'm a journalist or went to, storm the Capitol and tried to say they were a journalist, like, I don't buy it. Sorry, you're not a journalist. There was one guy named Steve Baker who had a YouTube show and all that, and he got arrested and charged and I think did jail time. And the right was very upset about that. And that's what they're pointing at now. And they're saying, well, if you arrested Steve Baker for being at the Capitol reporting on January 6th, then what is any different about what Don Lemon did? And they got
Was
a
he
point.
reporting or was he doing illegal acts?
So he fits what I would describe as a journalist, but he was getting in cops' faces and doing the whole like, "What are you going to shoot us?" And he was antagonizing cops. That's probably why he actually got charged.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's this weird thing like Nick Shirley, the kid that started this whole Minnesota stuff, the kid that went there and reported on the Somali daycare fraud, like he's a journalist. I don't know, like
I don't know what he does other than that one story, which actually turned out to be false, right?
I didn't. So there was fraud going on. A lot of the daycares he went to, and he was like, "Look, I guess there's no kids in here." No, they wouldn't let him in because if my kid went to daycare for like 6 years, if some guy showed up with a camera and said, "Let me in to take video of the kids," I would hope they would say no and not let him in the building.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
that's what happened in most of these cases, and they had the windows blacked out and stuff because they don't want people walking by and seeing the kids. That makes sense to me. So a lot of his reporting was inaccurate. Now, was there fraud? Yes. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we had known there was fraud for like 2 or 3 years. It had been reported on by several big media outlets. Like the fraud, people had already been convicted and were in jail for the fraud. Like this wasn't a new thing. He just brought it to the right's attention, but like this was a thing that had already been working its way through the courts. On top of that, speaking of which, I have something to show you here.
Fox 4 KDFW 48 Texans charged in nationwide 14.6 billion healthcare fraud takedown.
So
What?
Minnesota was either an $8 or $9 billion fraud scheme. Now Trump keeps, how Trump doubles things for no reason.
Sure,
Trump keeps trying to say that it's 18 or 19 million. It was, I think it was 8. It might have been 9. But Texas, 48 Texans just got charged in a 14 points. Why isn't the government storming Texas? What's the difference? Oh, one's a red state, one's a blue state, I guess. But so, and I just thought that was interesting because that's what started this whole thing is all the fraud happening in Minnesota. Well, hey, guess what? There's more fraud happening in Texas. But
Oh, he's definitely targeting blue states. Like, what did we knew that was going to happen. I'm pretty sure we talked about this before he got elected. He's going to target blue states.
We thought he was going to target blue states, but do it in a somewhat deniable way, a way that you could be like, oh, he's not really, but he clearly is, but you can't prove it. No, he's doing it in a very out in the open way. So
Yes.
yeah, which actually I'll say this: they're about to go to a red state. They're about to go to Ohio. It looks like
Huh?
there's that. Remember during the election, there's a large Haitian community in Springfield, Ohio, that was eating all the cats and the dogs.
All the
That was
dogs, the
they're eating the cats and the
dogs.
dogs. So they're it's supposedly it's being reported. I don't know how accurate it is that the next place they're going is Springfield, Ohio. Now, sidetracking here, Christy Noam canceled their TPS, temporary protective status. The Haitians had temporary protective status that was given under
Hmm.
Biden. Noam canceled it, and they all have to be out by February 3rd. And
All the Haitians have to leave by February 3rd.
everyone that was here under the temporary protected status. Now, a judge has already said that the way that she canceled their TPS was not legal and that she can't enforce it. They're probably not going to listen to that judge, and they're going to go through and any Haitian they can find that was here under TPS, they're going to round up and ship to a facility and then deport them. But supposedly a judge said they can't do that, so we'll see what happens
That's
with that.
crazy.
Yeah. Anyhow,
So where are they going to go back to Haiti?
yes. Which, of all the examples, like Haiti's the perfect example. We have been overthrowing their government. We just did it like 3 years ago. We keep overthrowing the government of Haiti. And then they're like, well, why don't they fix their country and stop coming up here? Because America can't stay out of Haiti's business. Like we are constantly messing with their government. So, like I said, I think it was like 2020 or 2021 the last time we overthrew their government. So, anyhow, just throwing that out there. Uh, we like to break other countries and then complain when their people come here.
Yeah.
Uh, I will say, Tom Homan. We mentioned it last time, but Tom Homan is now in Minneapolis. Greg Bovino is gone. Um, Tom Homan gave a press conference yesterday morning, and it was very dull and boring, but like in a refreshing way. He wasn't. I'm going to play this clip for you, and then we'll talk about it. Check this out real quick. Tom
All
Homan
right.
in Minneapolis.
That said, I'm not here because the federal government has carried its mission out perfectly. First thing I said to senior staff when I walked in here is what I told you earlier. I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. I come here looking for solutions. I do not want to hear that everything that's been done here has been perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book. The mission is going to improve because of the changes we're making internally.
He's not here because the government did things perfectly.
He said, I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. So there's been a power struggle behind the scenes. He doesn't like Christy Noam. He doesn't like, what's that guy's name? Corey Lewandowski. That's her little assistant. He thinks that all this stuff they're doing, trying to make social media content and all that. Tom Homan. I'm not going to say I'm a fan or he's a great guy, but he's like an old school law enforcement guy. Like he doesn't like all this social media crap. Like when he sees
Oh, he's law enforcement. How much money did he have in a bag?
50,000. He attempted bribery. You know what's funny, and I was reading something about this the other day.
By the FBI, right?
They set him up. Yeah, they found out that he was open for offers, and they gave him 50 grand. What's funny is by the letter of the law, he actually did not commit a crime. And this is so weird, but there was a Supreme Court ruling a couple of years ago, and to actually commit bribery, to get convicted of it, you have to take the money and then you have to follow through by doing the thing that you promised to do for the money. Trump got elected. He promised he would help them get government contracts. Trump got elected. They found out that he was under investigation for this. They told him that, killed the case. So he never followed through with his end of the bargain. And for him to be found guilty, he had to follow through with his end of the bargain.
Oh, he didn't follow through because he found out through Trump.
Yeah, because when Trump came into office, they were like, "Hey, dude, you're under investigation for this." So at this point, even if the next president tried to come in and charge him, he would not be found guilty because he never fulfilled his end of the deal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyhow,
He
again
got
though,
lucky.
Homan again though is like an old school law enforcement guy. He was in charge of ICE under Obama. So
Oh,
yeah, and Obama actually gave him like the Medal of Freedom at one point or some kind of honor like that.
Oh,
But like I said, Homan just wants to get the bad guys. Like I do believe that. Like I said, he's not a good guy, but at the same time, like he just wants to get the bad guys, and he wants to do it quietly. He doesn't want to disturb the public. He said he went on for a while in that press conference, but he said that any of their ICE or Border Patrol agents that break regulations or break the rules are going to be held accountable. Like he's sick and all. From all accounts, all the stuff he's been seeing videos of, he has been hating. He's like, this isn't how we do it. Like his idea is we get up at 3 a.m. and we catch people as they're walking out of their house on their way to work, targeted people we're looking for because they have a criminal record, and we're done by like 8 a.m. We're never on the streets at the same time the general public is out on the streets. Like that's the way he prefers to do things. So I have no problem with that. Like if that's what they start doing right now, that'd be awesome. Trump signaled a lot that we were scaling back, we were de-escalating, is what he kept saying. But then MAGA got really mad at him for de-escalating. So now for like the past day and a half, he's been like, "No, we're not de-escalating. We're going to keep doing what we're doing." I think he's just saying all that. Tom Homan ain't going to do that. Tom Homan, I firmly believe that's not what he prefers to do. So
okay.
there's hope things might get a little better. I think we're not
So
going to.
Tom Homan's not going to last in his position very long.
I mean, I think that so here's the thing. There was a part of the MAGA base that was loving the daily content coming out, watching CPB, throwing tear gas at people. Like they loved that. Trump
Why?
doesn't.
Those are the American people.
I get it, but they don't care. They think that the left hate America, and like I said, they loved the videos they were seeing. Trump doesn't understand that he can't win an election with just the MAGA base. He needs the normies, the Republicans that voted for Trump but don't really like him, but they voted for him because they don't like Democrats. Like he's turning all them off. So
I think he can win an election without anybody else.
I don't know why you would think that.
Not a free and fair election.
Oh
but
yeah, I mean,
he can win.
if he's gonna
I
rig
mean,
it, which
where did he take the voter ballot, the photo registration rolls?
so. The FBI raided the Fulton County election building on, what was that, Thursday? I don't know, it was a day or two ago.
That's got to be illegal too.
I mean, they had a warrant signed by a judge. Now, the judge, they tried to get warrants in Georgia, and no judge would sign off on it. So they got a judge in Missouri to sign off on raiding the election building in Georgia, which Fulton County is where Atlanta is. If you look at an election map of Georgia, it's red all over the state, but then there's a big blue dot in the center where the city is. That's Atlanta, Fulton County. That's where most of the people live in Georgia. That's anyhow. They took all the ballots from the 2020 election, which to anybody that thinks that there's going to be a new outcome, they hand counted. This is way back in 2020 when the election happened. They hand counted all the mail-in ballots, and when they do that, they do it with Republican and Democrats present, watching over it to make sure everything's done right. That count was good. Then they redid the whole machine counts because there was a deal. Whenever you start counting ballots in these machines, you print what's called a zero tape to prove that the machine is starting at zero. You're not starting with the number already on the machine, and you're supposed to sign that tape. There were several machines where they didn't have that zero tape. Either it never got done or it got lost. One way or another, they didn't have a signed zero tape, which it's a violation of their policies. It doesn't mean the votes don't count. When they found that out, they said, okay, let's go back and we'll do it the right way. We'll do the zero tapes and let's feed everything through the machines again. They did that. Biden still won. Then they went back and did a full hand recount of every ballot. It took, I think it took almost a week to do. And even after that, when they finished that, it turned out Biden actually won by like 800 more votes than they thought he did, or something like that. Biden's victory increased a little bit. So these votes have been counted 3 times, one time by hand, with Republicans and Democrats present. But their thing is they confiscated the ballots, thinking they're going to go back and recount them again, and somehow Trump's going to win. Nobody's paying attention to this, but in all the stuff they took, he also got the voter rolls. That's what he wants. The DOJ, right when he got into office, the DOJ requested that all 50 states send in their voter rolls. And most states, even a lot of Republican states, said no. Like, there's a reason that we don't have centralized elections. The federal government doesn't control elections. The states do, and even beyond that, like at the local level, the cities and the counties control their own elections. It's how we keep there from being like mass fraud. Like if you had a centralized election, it'd be real easy for someone to cheat. The fact that it's done at all the local levels makes it harder to cheat.
Yep.
There were, I think, like 15 or 20 states that gave up their voter rolls. Most states said no. Like I said, even a lot of Republican states said no.
15 to 20 states gave up their voter rolls.
I believe so.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah. It was all the like the deep red states. I'm sure I live in Oklahoma. I'm sure my state happily gave up its voter rolls.
But that could swing an election big time, right?
It depends on how he uses it. I mean, and I
Right.
since he wants them, something tells me that somebody in his administration has worked out a way to use that information to help. I don't know enough about it to really think what that
I
way
mean,
would
he
be.
could sick the IRS on people who voted against him. He could put people in jail who voted
Mm.
against him. He could do all kinds of stuff that or take them off the voter roll.
That's and so here's the thing about voter rolls that kills me, and a lot of people don't fully get this, but like here's the deal. I was registered to vote in Texas. I moved to Oklahoma 4 years ago. When I moved to Oklahoma, I never called Texas. I don't know who I don't know, you call, you email somebody and tell them to take me off the voter roll. Hey, I'm no longer in the state. Remove me from your voter roll. Nobody does that. Okay. So if they were to look at me right now, they would say, "Oh my God, he's registered to vote in 2 states. He's registered to vote in Texas, and he's registered to vote in Oklahoma." That is extremely common, even between cities. Like some people were registered, or counties, I guess. Some people were registered to vote in the county they lived in. They moved, and now they're registered to vote in the new county. Nobody ever calls the old county and tells them to remove themselves. So what Trump is going to try to show here is, look, there's all these people on the voter rolls that don't even live in Georgia anymore, which is true. It's 100% true. The voter rolls don't really matter. They do, but they don't. What matters is who actually voted. Was there somebody that voted in 2 states? There were a couple people. What's funny is the majority of the people they caught voting in 2 states voted for Trump. That was kind of hysterical. Um,
Yeah.
but that's what they're going to try to do, and then they're going to use that to justify we need to seize the voting machines. And this like let's say that Democrats do really well in the midterms. Now they're going to take this information, and any state where they have the voter rolls that a Democrat won in, they're going to say, "Oh, hold on, wait, we just checked the voter rolls." Hold on, what are you doing? They're going to say, "We just checked the voter rolls, and so many people on these voter rolls live in 2 states, this and that. This wasn't a fair election. We have to redo the election. We have to seize the machines." They're going to try to pull all that crap. What do you got pulled up here?
Well, did something here. Um, this is the states that gave up their voter rolls. This is kind of interesting.
Okay.
Kind of acting funky.
What do the color codings mean?
All right, here we go. Oh, keep messing it up. So here we go. Green has not provided voter rolls. Okay, get out of that. Blue provided complete voter roll list, including driver's license numbers and partial social security numbers, which is insane. That's Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, Alaska, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Indianapolis. They gave up their driver's license number and partial social security numbers.
Yep. What's the light blue? They gave up part of it, but not all that information.
Um, Light blue is provided publicly available versions of voter list or insurrections on how to obtain it.
Instructions on how to obtain it.
Yeah,
So,
interesting.
so that's
Red is
Oklahoma.
funny. It's sued for not providing complete voter lists, including driver's license numbers and partial security numbers.
So they're being sued by Pam Bondi at the DOJ because they want that, and hopefully judges are not going to let them have that. But that's currently happening. What's
That's
the
insane.
what's the yellow state? What is that? Is that North Dakota up there?
North Dakota received other requests from GOJ, but not requests for voter lists. They don't care about North Dakota.
Yeah, that's. And then what is that? Is that Wyoming or what's beside that?
Montana?
Montana. What's Montana? Gray.
No information.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of states that just gave up their citizens' voter rolls, social security number, and driver's license number.
They might have a sneaky plan that I don't know about, but I think that they're going to try to use that information to sow doubt in the election and then use that as a justification to say the election wasn't accurate or we need to redo the election or Something like if they lose, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to muddy the waters and make people doubt that the election was free and fair.
Yeah, but who's going to run in 2028?
Well, I think 2026 is going to be a test run to see how well they can do this. And
Mm.
if they can show that, oh, look, all this stuff with the voter rolls, then they're going to use that to try to do executive orders to federalize the election pretty much leading up to 2028.
Oh, and then Trump can be president for forever.
Or JD, whoever they pick. Like I said, I'm starting to think that Trump likes this whole Board of Peace thing, and he's going to ride off into the Middle East and just live a happy life.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, why just be president of America when you can run the world? I think that's the way he's looking at it.
Well,
He's
he's
got
already
big-
the president of two countries right now.
Yeah, he's running Venezuela and America, and soon to be Iran. Let's not forget. So, anyhow, also, hey, quick funny story. Once they found out this raid was going on in Georgia, some reporters got over there and were taking pictures, and there was a lady that was wearing like a jacket and a hat and trying to be incognito, was kind of hiding, didn't want to be seen, and somebody got a picture of her. I want to see if you can tell who is in this picture.
I can't tell.
That right there is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. You might wonder
She's
why
back. Where's she been?
she has been investigating voter fraud, which is something that the Director of National Intelligence should have nothing to do with. Unless, remember, there were all those crazy theories like that Italy used satellites to hack the election, and Venezuela, Hugo Chavez and Maduro somehow did it, and China did. There was all so if they're chasing down leads that all these foreign countries tried to interfere in our election, then that's what makes sense for her to be involved. But how does that equal her being in Georgia taking all the ballots? It doesn't make sense at all. There's no reason she should be involved in this other than she's trying to get back in Trump's good graces. She's been on the outs for most of this first year, and now this is her way to get back in Trump's good graces and nothing's
Well,
going to.
is she the lone voice in the room that's saying stop bombing other countries?
Well, when they kidnapped Maduro, apparently she was not invited to any of the meetings leading up to that operation, which the DNI should be in all of those meetings. And the joke in the White House was that DNI stands for do not invite. So like they left her totally out of the loop on all that because I think they knew that she would have been against it.
Yeah.
But this
That
is
was her whole thing. She ran on a whole platform of no new wars.
That was
And then
her thing.
Trump took that and ran on it and won on it and then completely threw it out the window.
Yep. So what my prediction for what's going to happen here is nothing's really going to happen, but Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel are going to put out a big report showing all these issues with Georgia. People on the voter rolls that are in 2 states and this and that, and they're going to say, look, so President Trump really did win in 2020, which, let me point out to you, even let's just say that Trump won Georgia, he still would have lost the election. Georgia didn't matter in the long run. It just made it a bigger defeat. But if you go back in time and flip Georgia to Trump, he still loses. So I don't know why they're putting all their eggs in this basket, but she's going to put out a big report and she's going to say, I'm handing this over to the Department of Justice so that they can prosecute. And then all of MAGA is going to be like, yay, we're finally going to prosecute for them stealing the election. And nothing's ever going to really happen with it. That's what we're looking forward to here.
They do so much work that makes no sense. That gets them nowhere.
It makes sense if you look at it as they're just trying to keep the base happy and fired up. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep the base happy and fired up leading into the next election.
So they're just doing all this bullshit work to try and keep the base happy when they could actually go through and do actual policy reform or try and make the American people's lives better. But instead they just are smoke and mirrors, throw these smoke and mirrors up to try and make them think that they're doing stuff.
I'm not even saying this to be funny, but it's hard to legislate. It's hard to start a bill in the House and get everybody on board and pass it, and then get it to the Senate and get everybody on board and pass it. That's hard. It takes a lot of hard work.
Joe Biden could do it.
He got a couple things done. I think Republicans realize how hard it is, and they just don't want to mess with it. They're in the House, their goal is to not do anything. I'm sure of that. And Trump signs executive order after executive order, and a lot of times they don't really have any teeth to them. They can't really do anything. And even the ones that they say do, the next president can come in and with a stroke of a pen, just get rid of it. And that's Trump did a bunch of executive orders. When Biden came in, he cleared them all out on day one. That's what will happen if a Democrat wins in 2028. But they've just kind of given up on the idea of legislating. Even healthcare. They were going to try to get a new healthcare plan. Remember, just in December. In December, they were saying they were going to have one at the beginning of January, and now we're at the end of January, and they haven't even talked about healthcare. They're not even going to try.
Where's our healthcare plan?
It's not coming. I'm sorry to break it to you.
So then the government's going to shut down because that was the thing, right? They were going to shut down the government again if they don't have a healthcare plan in place by
Which now we're going to shut down the government. Which no, it was end of January is when they were going to do it, but now the focus is on ICE. So everybody's lost focus on healthcare, and now it's ICE.
Well, can't it be both? Can't we push for both?
I don't think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yeah.
Our system's broken. This is sad.
Yeah, it is. So what can you do? All right, I've only got one other thing for tonight, but I did just happen to see something come across my my computer here. I haven't read these documents yet, but people are still going through the newest release of the files, and this says we appear to have confirmation that J.E. not only helped coordinate Robert Kraft's legal defense following his arrest in Florida in 2019, but it appears to have been a crisis in the J.E. world as he emailed both Bannon and Ehud Barak about it. Ehud Barak was the prime minister of a country in the Middle East that is not like all the other countries that we can't say their name.
I called it, man. I totally called this.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's interesting. So
I called it.
Okay.
I mean, it would just all make sense. All in Juniper, Florida. Trump.
Well, they were obviously all buddies.
Draft.
Yeah.
Massage. Happy ending. It's all there. It was all there.
It's still so odd to me that Robert Kraft, who's a billionaire, was going to like a foot spa type place, like the little
all billionaires.
Yeah, but JE and the other people, were getting it done on islands, and whatnot. Not in a strip center. The place that Kraft got busted in was like a strip center. Didn't look like the place a billionaire would go.
JE owns that.
Again, I think
that whole strip center, including the parlor.
I love your theory there. I think we would know that by now. We would have heard that, but it's a good theory. But we would have heard that.
Well, think about it. Okay, let's think about this.
Yeah, we've done this before.
Let's say Kraft and JE have a good relationship, and Kraft really likes this one girl. Where does that girl go when she becomes? What's the term they used on the giant check?
Fully depreciated.
When a girl becomes fully depreciated, where does that girl go?
She goes
to the foot spa, yeah. And maybe Kraft had a little something with this girl, and so he's going to visit his girl.
That's more likely than your theory that J.E. owned that foot. That like I said, we would know that. That would be
ties to the foot spa.
Okay. Maybe a girl that used to be part of J.E.'s ring now works at the foot spa. I'll take that as a theory. That's better than your previous theories on this. So, anyhow, last thing we're going to talk about. All of the crazy stuff happening in the news right now is doing one good thing for Trump. He's distracting everybody from the economy. Like, even he was in Iowa this week and he was like, nobody's talking about affordability anymore because I solved it. And it's like, no, you didn't solve it. It's just that there's so much other stuff going on that he's right. Affordability is not being talked about right now because of all the other pressing issues. But new inflation data came out today. Inflation rose from 2.7 to 3%, so it headed back up. Core PPI was at 3.3%, heading the wrong direction. And then the trade deficit. Trump's whole reason for doing these tariffs was because our trade deficit was too unfair and this and that. And by doing these tariffs, he was going to help balance the trade deficit. That was his stated goal, right? You remember all that?
Yeah.
All right. Check out this clip from News Nation real quick.
Oh, great.
Good morning, Marky. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of the president's tariff agenda is to reduce the trade deficit. He has said over and over that it is unfair. But what we saw in November was the exact opposite. And by the way, we only get November's data now because of that government shutdown last year. Listen, what we saw was the widest or largest widening of the deficit in more than 3 decades. Here's the numbers. When you look at what we saw in October, we had a deficit of $29.2 billion for trade. That jumped to over $56 billion in November. November, up 94.6% to your point there, almost doubling. At the same time, exports fell nearly 4%. That's what we sell to other countries, and what we bought from other countries, the imports, that climbed 5%. And really notable here, the largest deficit amongst trade partners increase was with our largest trade partner, the European Union. That jumped from 7.9 billion in October to 14 billion in November. Of course, as trade tensions have rise with that 27 nation bloc. Listen, bottom line here, the trade deficit for November headed in the opposite direction of where the president wants.
So we are buying more from out of this country, and other countries are buying less from us.
Yeah, by almost double.
Yeah, and for the other countries, like their government doesn't, like the people of those countries hate America and are not buying American. Like it's not like the government's doing anything in those countries. Like they, especially like Canada is a great example, but in the European Union too, like they're doing this whole, like there's these movements that are basically don't buy American. Like and in some of these countries, they're labeling items on their shelf that this is an American product so people know not to buy it. So,
I mean, and this is all under a man who has claimed bankruptcy 7 times,
yep.
who his only mode of gathering money was being a TV reality star show and grifting off the American people.
That was his most successful thing until he became president, was his reality show. Everything else he ever did went bankrupt. The reality show is where he got famous and made some money. Yeah. Now,
wow, that's crazy. Did you see gold and silver just collapse today?
So they were going up, and then all of a sudden they went down. Have you checked it tonight at all? Is it still down?
It was down 30%. The silver market's closed right now.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I saw that the dollar's in trouble right now, and a lot of countries are selling their T-bills, their treasury bills, as a way to kind of get back at us.
Yeah.
I got one more video for the night, and this is only for the intent to scare the hell out of everybody. Because when I saw this video, it scared the hell out of me. This is from Fox News, and this is a Republican-leaning guy. I had to check to see who this guy was, but this isn't like a lefty that went on Fox News. This is a Republican guy that likes Trump, and here is what he had to say to Fox News.
And the world is now pulling the rug out from under the U.S. The dollar is going to collapse. The dollar is going to be replaced by gold. Central banks are buying gold to back up their currencies. They're getting rid of dollars. They're getting rid of treasuries. We are headed for an economic crisis, again, that will make the 2008 financial crisis look like a Sunday school picnic. The biggest difference between the crisis that we're about to have and the one we had back then is this one is all in America. It's not going to be exported to the rest of the world. It's not a global financial crisis. It's an American financial crisis.
He's just destroying our economy.
That makes you feel good, doesn't it? Like, now, here's what's scary is when I saw that clip, I was like, oh shit. And I tell you, and I've told everybody in my life, like if you see something online or on the news that scares you, or it makes you feel any certain way, go look for other sources. Like maybe that guy's crazy. Go see what you can find. So I went and saw what I could find. What's scary is it appears there's a solid chance that Trump and Bessent are purposely crashing the dollar. Purposely. And I'm not an economics guy, so I can't fully explain why. But it helps the stock market somehow. When the value of the dollar goes down, that in turn causes the stock market value to go up. I don't fully understand it, but it does. Also, if you want to refinance your debt, it's going to be cheaper for us to refinance our debt if the dollar is weaker than if the dollar was strong. Somehow. Like I said, I don't fully understand any of this. I'm relaying what I read.
$1 trillion every 100 days right now.
Yeah. So what it does, it would help the government and it would help Wall Street. It'll crush lower and middle income people. Like, the value of the dollar is not going as far as it used to. So if you're someone who, let's say you're a family that makes under $150,000 to $200,000 a year, like it's going to be really devastating for you. But if you're really rich, it's not a bad deal to crash the dollar.
Right. Yeah. And if the stock market crashes, that's when billionaires are made because that's when they buy back into stocks and they. Yeah.
And interesting tidbit here. You know George Soros? You always hear the name George Soros, the boogeyman on the left. Scott Bessent worked for George Soros for a long time. George Soros made all of his money by crashing the currency in Europe. I think it was in England. And who was working with him when he did that? Scott Bessent. So Scott Bessent learned how to crash a currency working for George Soros. And it's plausible to believe that he's taking what he learned and now applying that to America.
I'd be curious to know how George Soros crashed their economy. Like,
I want to fact check myself on that because I
it seems like
believe
one billionaire wouldn't be able to crash an entire economy, but
Scott Bessent. How do you spell Bessent? There we go. Soros. Scott Bessent, blah, blah, blah. Key strategist and chief investment officer at the Soros Fund Management, a protege of George Soros. Bessent helped lead major profitable trades, including the 1992 bet against the British pound. So yeah, okay. Yeah. So
oh,
so he was a protege to George Soros and was with him when they crashed the pound to profit off of it. So
George Soros broke the Bank of England on September 16th, 1992, Black Wednesday, by executing a massive short selling campaign against the British pound, forcing its exit from the European exchange rate through its quantum fund. Soros took 10 billion position, betting that the UK government could not sustain the pound's pegged value against the German mark. Oh, so it was a short selling campaign.
which I've said this before, but I watched that movie, The Big Short, like two different times, and they explain it a lot, and I still don't really understand what it means to short a stock. You could don't even try to explain it to me right now because I'm not going to get it. I don't understand it. You're betting against the stock. That's kind of what
Yeah,
I understand, but
yeah,
I don't understand really how any of that works. So,
yeah.
anyhow, just interesting that the guy who was right by George Soros' side and probably, probably doing a lot of the work is now Trump's Secretary of the Treasury as the dollar is crashing. Is it on purpose? Nobody seems panicked. Trump and Bissent don't seem panicked as the dollar goes down, almost like this is their intention.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is because somebody had a video today about Trump talk. Somebody asked Trump about it, and he said, "Yeah, I think it's good." Or
No, he said, "Oh no, the dollar's fine. I'm very happy with how the dollar's doing." And
yeah,
if you just kind of hear it once, you're like, "Oh, he's trying to bullshit us and act like he's not worried about the dollar."
yeah,
But then with all the other information, you watch that same clip and you're like, "Oh no, is he saying that he's happy with the fact that the dollar's
yeah,
crashing?" It could be. So,
yeah. Interesting.
yeah, so inflation's up, the deficit and debt is out of control, and the dollar's crashing.
And even our precious metals are crashing.
Yeah, well, they're not. It's the world's precious metals. It's not like we got a
That's
market
true.
on that,
That's true.
but yeah. So hip hip hooray!
Great,
Great job, everybody.
great job.
Yeah,
Hail Trump! Hail Trump! Hail Trump!
doing a great job. I couldn't be happier with my president. I don't know about you.
Oh,
Uh,
on another note, there's a virus.
God, I
I
saw
just
this. Where is it at? Like Thailand or something?
The Nipah virus. Yeah, it was in Thailand. It comes from
Yeah,
fruit bats. There's only two cases so far, but they're like putting up extra security at airports
yeah.
in
My
Southeast Asia, trying to get this thing under control, I guess.
my daughter's 11 and she watches a lot of YouTube shorts. And she came
Mhm.
down to me like 2 days ago and she was like, "Dad, have you seen this new virus?" And she was like legit freaked out about it. And so I was trying to calm her down. But then I thought about it. Like for a kid her age, like as she was entering kindergarten is when coronavirus hit.
That's right.
And so like this is a big part of her life. And like for her, the fear of like, oh crap, like another virus, like masks, lockdown, all that stuff, like she was legit a little worried about this. So I was like, and this is partially true. Every couple of years, there's a new virus in Japan or in Asia. There was SARS back in the day. Like it's every couple of years, and a lot of them never break out and become a big thing like COVID was.
Sure.
Who knows? This one very well might turn out like that. But like I said, most of the time they keep them contained to whatever part of the world they're in, and it doesn't get over here. So I try to reassure her that way. But man, that's all we need. Let's just play this out real quick. This disease gets over here with Trump and RFK in charge of the response.
We're so screwed.
Oh dear God.
People are, yeah. This thing has a 75% death rate and a 2 week incubation period where it's
Oh,
undetectable.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what made COVID so ridiculous was the 4 day incubation period that made contact tracing almost impossible. 2 weeks. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Good thing nobody wants to come to America.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. This is
Uh,
this is one of those times where I'd actually be all for Trump like shutting down international travel. Like just shut the borders. Nobody in, nobody out.
yeah.
Let this thing burn through wherever it's at and then we'll reopen.
It's no
Actually,
dog.
which that's a total Trump response. Oh, we'll just shut down the borders and not let anybody in or out. And normally I would be like, you fucking idiot. But knowing who would be leading our response, I'm like, yeah, shut down the borders. That's
Just shut it down.
the
Get rid of
best
them.
option. Yeah, let's just shut down the borders. Don't let anybody in or anybody out.
No. The
Yeah.
only other thing I have is I did a little research on how we got Maduro out of Venezuela.
Okay. I'd love to hear. I haven't heard any details about it.
Oh man, I'll send you a link because I was watching a video on it and it's interesting. But the thing that is kind of scary is we have some sort of, they call it a soft kill system.
Are you talking? So, okay, continue.
So they're speculating that's either a high-powered microwave device or a weaponized infrasonic pulse emitter. But it was basically when we got to the facility, there was 20 of our troops versus 100 of theirs, and there were no, like, they didn't even put up a fight because we had used some kind of top secret weapon that we have to, apparently the soldiers they suffered from vertigo, vomiting, and internal bleeding.
Okay.
Some of them were bleeding from the nose and vomiting blood. And we went in, we blasted them with that. After we shut down their defense system, we blasted their troops with that, and then we dropped in our troops. And apparently there was not even a fight. Like I guess they killed this soldiers, but they were already on the ground, like suffering from.
So that is believable, but I will say there was somebody like posted a tweet that was like, "Oh man, I just talked to somebody that was in Caracas in Venezuela, and they said," and then it was the whole account that's basically what you're describing. And nobody's ever been able to trace that back to where did that come from. And like Carolyn Levitt reposted it, a bunch of right-wing people like were reposting that like
Hmm.
unsourced account of all these, oh, there's some weapon that did this and that. Now, it does seem like technology wise, like our technology is what made it so easy to go in and get Maduro and not lose any American lives. We use some kind of jamming technology to where they had a bunch of anti-aircraft like surface to air missile type stuff, and it all like powered down. Like as we were coming into the airspace, it just like just shut down and wouldn't fire and all that. So
Apparently the screens went white. Like
yeah, totally. So we
just
use that.
totally.
And then I am open to the fact that we might have had some kind of like you remember they called it Havana syndrome, but we
Mhm.
thought it was the Russians. And they were shooting like bursts of sound or whatever it was. It was discombobulated. Like we very well might have used that. I will just say a lot of the information that we have is from that one tweet that it was like some guy nobody's ever heard of claimed he spoke to a soldier in Venezuela who said blah 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 blah, and nobody's been able to source that back to like an actual person that was there that said this.
Hmm.
So I'm
Interesting.
not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I wish there was a soldier. I wish we had the name of a soldier who was there on record saying this is what happened. We don't have any of that.
Right. They're also coming out with some of the fishermen that were killed in the boats that we
One
struck.
one of them is suing the US government. Apparently it was a guy who was basically hitching a ride home on one of these boats and got blown up. Like he had nothing to
Oh,
do with any of the trade. Apparently, that's what they're claiming.
he survived?
No, he died. His family is suing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah. So anyhow, the I do think it's weird that we don't really have any details on the Venezuela stuff, and also like if like the military base he was being housed on was like right downtown Caracas, like it wasn't like out in the boonies, and we really don't have much video from that. Like we have video from far away where you can see explosions happening, but I would have thought for sure we'd start seeing something. We haven't really seen anything from that, so who knows? And
That makes it a little sketchier. I mean, if
yeah,
they have some kind of weapon like that, isn't that's got to be illegal?
I
Like
don't know.
international law.
I don't know. I don't think anybody ever theorized a weapon like this. So there's probably no rule against this. Like there's a rule against chemical weapons because that's been around for 100 years. So we made
Hmm.
rules about it. Like normally a new weapon has to be invented and used, and then we reactionarily like put a rule in place about that weapon.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
and we're not going to admit we have this weapon if we do have it. So like I said, I
Right.
very believable that we have something like that. I'm not happy at all with the sources of what this is coming from yet.
But it's weird that Carolyn Levitt would repost that.
Everybody was
It's
pointing that out.
very strange.
Yeah. So
Is it supposed to be top secret? Is it true? What's going on here?
it could be true, but again, like it's kind of all sourced to like this one tweet that claims they talked to somebody in Venezuela. And the one tweet from that guy, it's like one of those where we don't even know if that's a real guy. That could be a bot or it could be somebody in Russia. Like we have no clue who this guy was that made this first tweet that everybody then started sharing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's just, one of those. Which, if you're the U.S. government and you don't really have that weapon, but it's starting to go around online that you do, then Carolyn Levitt would put it. Yeah, let's keep making everybody believe we have this weapon. Whereas if you really had it, you wouldn't retweet. You would be really quiet and you wouldn't say anything about it. So I almost think they're bluffing that like this tweet came out and they were like, yeah, this is good. Let's make everybody think we have some top secret weapon.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense because you want people to be scared. But we destroyed those Russian anti-aircraft systems.
Yeah, the surface air missile. We didn't destroy them. We knocked them offline
from one of our ships.
Yeah,
has that capability.
Something does, and it might not even been like it might not have been an aircraft. Like I've read some stuff about this. The old school way is you'd have some stealth aircraft come in with a jamming frequency and jam all their surface to air stuff. Now that everything's so interconnected through the internet, like there's a solid chance that we infected all of them with a virus, like a computer virus.
Imagine.
Sorry.
Yep. So, but no, it's more likely that we basically hacked into their systems and installed a virus that caused everything to shut down. Like that's the realistic way how it probably happened.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting shit. I found that video. I'll send it to you.
Okay. I'm ready for it. So, all right. I got nothing else. You got anything else, buddy?
No, I'm good.
All right. Hey, you going hunting this weekend?
I am.
All right. Stay safe. Kill some animals.
All right.
Yeah, send me pictures. All right.
Will do.
I'll talk to you early next week, buddy.
Later, brother.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.